Welcome to the Joy Quota Podcast. I'm Dylan Fole.
And I'm Gavin Malcolm.
Our guest tonight is Trevor Brown.
This dude is awesome. We get into literally every subject that has ever been discussed in human history, from conspiracy theories,
dinosaurs, time travel, all of it. Real estate investing. It's a good one.
This is both ridiculous and inspiring. I hope you enjoy. So how did you and Jamar used to work at 24, right?
Yeah, we worked at, it was Bally's at the time.
Okay.
So 24 bought Bally's out in like 2015, like right at the end of the year, going into 2015, I think. So he was working there, and they promised him that he'd be a trainer, and he would like train into being a trainer, you know. And then they just made him work the front desk every day.
Dude, he said he was in charge of opening up, and he would he was a very different person, and he would just show up blacked out, like 50 minutes late, and all the diehard gym people are like, fucking open the doors.
Yeah.
And he would just like open the door and then like go find an office and like nap in the office and like
Dude, that's what happens when you stay up till 2 and you have to wake up at 5. The gym opened at 5.
Staying up till 2 out partying?
Dude, Jamar was an absolute...
I didn't know that.
Dude,
I didn't get that from his podcast.
In his podcast, he said he walked around with a fanny pack with drugs and money and just like partied his face off on the island for that whole time, and then like came to Colorado and just like did that for a while. It wasn't like, we know Jamar in a very different place.
Yeah.
And I met him before all of that started too. Yeah.
Jamar, I'll never get to know.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, more or less, he's the same guy. It's just those little decisions that make such a big difference in the end. That's what he changed, really. Stop the drinking, stop, everything that's associated, and found God at the same time. So
it was funny because he said, he was like, when I first met Trevor, I was like this loose cannon, and Trevor just like didn't want to hang out. Like we just had nothing in common, and we would just like work out every now and again, but like that was as far as it went. And then I like made the decision to like stop partying my face off, and then like a month later, Trevor was like, "You're cool now. Do you want to hang out?"
Basically, man. But dude, even back then, he was lifting heavy, and that's where we connected. I was a trainer at Bally's, and when 24 took it over, man, that's when everything went to hell.
Yeah, so
horrible. Yeah, horrible. We had like, I think 7 managers, but probably only like 15 employees.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was a ridiculous. There was a manager for everything, and they were all very much on their high horse.
Yeah,
at all times.
I've been titled manager.
Yeah, especially the GM, man, and he hated me.
I've many leather-bound books.
Yeah,
old barbells with dust on them, signed by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
I'd want that.
Yeah, dude.
I'd want that.
So, real quick, just for people who don't know you, because we just recently met.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, because I have some stories that you and Jamar have inspired me. So, like, want to get to that and like get your take on that. But first, I want to share a little bit about yourself.
My name's Trevor. 26. Was born in Colorado. Was born in Vail. And my mom worked for Hyatt Hotels. So every time there was a promotional opportunity, she'd be moving, and we'd be moving with her. So started here, went to Kentucky, which is where she's from.
What a crazy move!
Yeah, it gets better. So we went to Kentucky, stayed there for about 4 years. Grew up with my cousins a little bit. I have some family out there. Moved to Washington State, Seattle, and then moved to Ohio, which is just north of Kentucky, and then moved to Maryland, and then moved back to Colorado, all in the course of about 10 years.
That's like the craziest series of moves. You went from Colorado, like arguably the coolest, to Kentucky, which is arguably different.
Very much different.
Yeah. Perhaps a bit different.
To Washington State, which is like so cool.
Super sick. Yeah.
And like right back to Ohio, which is arguably different.
and worse.
To Maryland, which is like cool in its own right.
It's pretty cool, yeah.
Back to Colorado, that's nuts.
Yeah, and we lived in Seattle during the longest period of consecutive rain days they've ever had.
Whoa.
90 days consecutively of rain.
What?
Like
every day.
Non-stop, or it would like rain for an hour a day?
Yeah, it would go like hard and then drizzle and then hard again. And it would just, some days it would be just pure drizzling the whole day, and some days it would be going really hard.
That is so nuts.
I mean, that's what I picture Seattle as anyway. So
right, I know people like aren't surprised, but when you're living it, it was crazy.
Did you get that like sad disorder or whatever, where you're like, your body needs the sun, and so it just like shuts down after so long?
Dude, my brother has super sensitive eyes, and we think because he grew up in the very early stages there And so ever since then, but yeah, it's insane. But I was young enough, probably 8, that I didn't get I was just chilling. I just,
You're on Energizer Bunny still. Like,
well, but you can't go play outside.
Right. That made it tougher too. And we just moved there. We were only there for like a year, and I thought we were going to stay there for a long time. So then when my parents said we're moving again, I was like, what? Are you serious? Every time you get friends, it'd be like, all right, we're moving.
That over and over. Rough.
So it was kind of rough. And then when I got here, went right to middle school, King Carroll Middle School in Littleton. And and then went to Columbine High School. And then stayed in Littleton, worked around there. I was a valet for a while, for a few years. Got my personal training certificate. Started working at Ballets. That's where I met Jamar. Then worked at 24. Then went to Anytime Fitness for like 2 years.
Dang.
And then took a break. We went to Hawaii for about 2 months, like 2.5 years ago, which was super.
Who's we?
Me and my girlfriend and her family.
Sick. 2 months is the right amount of time.
2 months is very much the right amount of time. Yeah. Well, we're lucky enough that Christine, my girlfriend's family, knows a guy who has a house down there. Longtime friends of theirs, family friends.
That's the only way you can do it.
So now the only comparison I have is like living, and it's a sick house too, on the beach, and so we felt very spoiled, very much like undeservingly, and that's what really started to motivate me to want to push myself, invest in real estate, because that's kind of what he did to get his wealth. And then when I came back, I started working in property management.
Dang.
Have been for about 3 years. Got my real estate license so I can buy and sell houses too, and then started investing.
That's awesome.
Nice.
That's kind of where we're at.
So do you own properties right now?
Yeah, and they're in Kentucky.
Okay.
Yep. So I own a couple multifamily units out in Kentucky. Rent them out. I have a management company there, so it's I'm super uninvolved, which is great. And because I know the industry
really the
here,
dream,
I want to do absolutely nothing and just collect checks every month.
Like, who doesn't want that?
Yeah, exactly. So that's the goal, man, is to eventually become financially independent through real estate investing like that.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Long-term holds, yeah.
Dude, it's definitely tried and true. There's no arguing it whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of many pathways you can take. Like, I know Jamar's into his thing on how he's going to do the same thing, and I think you're into similar things as well. So
there's a million ways to make $1 million.
Yeah,
that's why it breaks my heart. Like, I've talked about this a couple times. I don't think there's a single thing out there that you can't become financially independent doing. You just have to be either A, the best that has ever done it, or it has to be like such a proven system that anyone can do it. Either, it doesn't matter, but like you can find, like if your thing is knitting, there's a way to make $1 jillion knitting, or if your thing is welding, or if it's cars, or if it's real estate, or if it's juices and health and fitness. Like, there's literally a million ways to make $1 million. No exaggeration.
Absolutely.
And it breaks my heart when I see some kid who's like, yeah, I'm going to go become a pharmacist because I'll get a good check. And I'm like, no part of you likes anything to do with pharmacy.
No.
Like, there are people who are passionate about that. Let them do that. Like, go find something else.
Yes, absolutely. You got to be passionate about what you do, because unless you're passionate about it, you won't become the best, and you won't make a great living at it.
Exactly.
Yeah. And somebody else who likes it more is going to do better than you, especially when you're trying to innovate something.
Better that they're doing better than you.
Because they truly love it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. And I truly love, I look at real estate every day. I love it. That's what my work is, and so I'm in it, and I'm loving it for sure.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of passion, obviously you're very passionate about fitness. You did it for a decade almost.
Yeah.
The other day, we were at Jamar's bachelor party, and you brought an Atlas stone.
You guys like
so
that?
So we could get drunk and perform feats of strength.
Yeah.
And that sent me down the weirdest YouTube rabbit hole of strongman stuff.
Yes.
For like a solid 2 hours. I did not look up from my phone. Just weird strongman stuff where they're like lifting the weirdest stuff.
Cars and massive boulders, and who knows.
It's like my new thing. Like, I have no desire to be a strongman or to work out like that.
Yeah.
But it is so fascinating when someone has just committed their whole life to becoming like a 6'9" monster.
Dude.
They eat like 10 to 15,000 calories a day. It's
How much is a calorie?
To put it in perspective, a Chipotle burrito is like 1,500.
A fat one.
Like a big
really
Chipotle
fat
burrito.
one, like fattest
So
one.
And they're
10
smashing.
burritos.
Like, yeah, maybe 10
Damn.
of those a day. Yep. Yeah. Some of these guys are like, 6'9", 6'8", like Hafthor, Bjornsson,
Yeah.
Brian Shaw, these guys, and they're 440 pounds. It's like,
Oh,
even if I wanted to be as strong as possible, I can never ever be as big as them.
Yeah.
It's not. I can't do it.
It's unreal.
Yeah.
Like some dude like half squatted like an actual ton. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
The human body shouldn't be able to do this.
Yeah.
And it's all because you brought an Alice Stone to a bachelor party in the woods, which was the best move.
I'll be
love
honest,
it.
I'm impressed at myself for even being able to get it off the ground.
You did. And you
Yeah, I
did.
was pumped.
Yeah, I was pumped too. Hell yeah.
Full commitment on
I'm not
Dylan's
a
behalf.
weightlifter at all.
It was great, man. But yeah, I have the 200-pound one too.
Yeah, Jamar said you
I'll
guys
bring
took
that
that
one.
out.
Yeah, I'll bring that one.
I
next
don't think
time.
I could get that off the ground.
Dude, it is at least 5 times heavier than the 100-pound one. Like,
Yeah.
what
Because
it
it's
feels
such
like.
a weird shape and like it's
Dude, it's
awkward.
so taut.
Why do they call it an Atlas stone? For people that don't know, because I didn't know until you.
Yeah, and so this is a
we were
soft.
lifting it.
Yeah, soft
It's
atlas.
a bag, technically.
Yeah, it's basically like a very hard.
A bag
like,
of sand.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's play sand. Like you can,
Yeah.
I bought the bag, and they're not cheap. Stupid, but went and got some play sand at Home Depot, like 2 50-pound bags, dumped it in the 100-pound one. And that took a while. We did that with the 200-pound one. It literally took 30 minutes to do it because after 3 bags, it looked full. And so then it's shaking. And I started sweating immediately because you're just shaking 150 pounds for like 10 minutes. And then slowly but surely got it in there. It is so taut. The 200-pound one is impossible.
Yeah, it's like an actual Atlas stone.
Yeah,
'Cause
and then
they're
so-
normally like a giant granite boulder
Yeah.
that's just like perfectly smooth.
Yeah.
Well, I
Giant
feel like that
cement.
would almost be easier, right? Because
In some
it's
ways,
it's less floppy.
In some ways, yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
also, keep in mind, it's like smooth.
Okay.
So there's it like you're just using friction and like a little bit of getting underneath it, but like equally bizarre.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
I'm so fascinated by like the
Yeah.
weird stuff that strongmen use to work out.
Dude, I know, man. And then back in like the 40s, there's a guy, Paul Anderson, and he really started innovating big strongman stuff. Squatting heavyweight, 800 plus pounds, and he was a little dude, like 5'7".
Yeah, it was like my size.
Yeah, and I saw his gym. Like I was watching the Strongman. You might have seen it too if you got into the History Channel stuff. Yep. And then so yeah, they went in his basement, and it's like Brian Shaw can't even stand in there because it's so short, and so because he was such a small guy.
It's probably
Well,
a
I
6
think
foot tall
everyone
ceiling.
before 1900 was a midget because our
Didn't have the
basement is the
hormones
same.
in the chicken.
That's right.
Yeah, the chicken, right? That's what it was.
Dude, yeah, well, and like, it really opened my eyes because like I do more like athlete type workouts where like conventional athlete because I'm very much a converted man. Strongman totally counts as an athlete, like 100%. Just a very different kind of sport.
It is. Yeah.
So like I went and worked out with Jamar the other day, and he's like, "Yeah, let's just max you out on everything here, like chest, legs, shoulders. Like I just want to max out everything." And it took like 2 hours. I never broke a sweat.
Yep.
I was like, "This is the weirdest thing I have ever experienced in my like." I didn't feel like I accomplished anything. I was just like, I was pumped because I like deadlifted 300 pounds, curled like a little over 100 pounds. I was like, that's actually decent for a guy who like
good.
has never once weight trained.
Never once.
No, it's all been like body weight stuff or like how many pull-ups can I do or run like stuff like the Murph. So Jamar was like actually pretty impressed. And then every time I felt good about myself, Jamar would just get there and just start repping whatever was my max.
Oh, yeah.
Just like 10, no problem.
Yep.
Like making eye contact, making jokes. I'm like, what?
Put his feet up, like doing some ab work.
It's unreal.
Yep.
And then the other day I went and worked out at the park over here. Came back and like wanted to throw up because it was like a more athletic thing.
Yeah.
And it's so weird how your body is just it's almost like designed for certain types of things.
For sure. Running, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And like
Swimming.
Jamar is just built that way.
Oh, yeah.
Versus like Dylan would have to put so much work to get to like 170 pounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like of weight. Like it would take so much effort for you to bulk up to the point where you could like just pick that Atlas stone like you
Just
and
start
Jamar
repping
and just
it.
over the head, no problem.
Yep.
Like
It takes time, man. I started working out probably when I was just turned 17 and just been going for about 10 straight years.
That's nuts.
Going heavy.
Well, and you've like been through different phases, right? Because like Jamar said, you put on a bunch of weight once just to be like a better trainer.
Yep.
You put on like 100 pounds just to prove you can lose 100 pounds.
Almost.
What?
Almost. It was about, I went from 170 to 230. So 60.
Jeez.
Yeah, put
That's
60
a lot.
on.
Like on purpose.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to eat McDonald's for... Or what was the process?
My go-to was Good Times.
Ooh.
So
Me and Good Times, no.
That's exactly it. But yeah, my main
Wow.
goal was just lifting as heavy as possible. And that was the funnest time, you know, on all the cycles I've done. I did CrossFit, the WOD, every day for a year. I did the strongman stuff to the calisthenics stuff to just pure bodybuilding stuff. And I wanted to diversify my background as much as possible for training, number one, but also for myself to really explore what I really liked. And now I just came back around to heavy lifting, and because right now, I mean, that's just the mood I'm in. And then sometimes I'm in the mood to just be super athletic and just do all CrossFit stuff, running, Murph. I've done Murph probably 20 times.
Yeah, you probably do it like 3 people strapped to your back.
Yeah. Sometimes you can have the weight vest in there, though.
I want to try it. I've never done. I think I was like just shy of 45 minutes without a vest.
Yeah,
and I was like,
that's good.
Reasonably, like I was real proud of myself, and then the internet was like, "Let me
what
prove
about
you
25
wrong."
minutes? Yeah,
with like
with a vest.
A vest, people are doing it. The Murph is a mile run, and then 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 squats, and then a mile run, and the whole thing is for time, including like breaks and pauses. And there are people with like a 30-pound vest can do it 25, 30 minutes.
Yep.
Like
really
regularly. It's so unreal.
Have you seen much of Rich Froning videos?
No. You seem like a very Rich Froning type person. Like I heard that's how you got into the Atlas Stone. Is like you weren't good at it once, so you're like, well, looks like I'm buying an Atlas Stone and I'm going to destroy this for the rest of my life.
Yep. And that's I mean, I think Rich Froning does the same thing. If he's bad at something, he just doesn't tell. He's great at it.
Yeah, he just like attacks it.
And the Atlas was so hard the
mindset.
first time. And so I was like, I got to get one, man. And so I did. I ordered it like the next day. Came in,
I love that
filled it with sand, and then just started training. And then eventually worked up to doing sprints with it, doing
You're doing sprints with that. How do you even hold that?
Shoulder it.
Okay.
One shoulder.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's nuts.
Yeah. It's fun stuff.
I know Jamar invited me to go to the park with you guys and mess around with a 200-pound bag, and I was like,
God.
Dude, no, I'm never going to be able to get that off the ground. Like, if I do, it's like I'm going to show up to the park, watch you guys be better at me for a full hour, and then leave and be like, cool. I'll never get there. Like, I'm not motivated.
I can't
enough
even
to
relate. I bend down and my back goes out. So.
Yeah.
I'm very conscious of the yoga. I do a lot of yoga.
I know. That's what I want to get into.
Did
you ever do a lot of like yoga type stuff?
Yeah, I belonged to Kindness Yoga up until recently for probably a year or so. But yeah, that's super important. I mean, I would suggest that for anybody at all times.
Yeah.
And like your idea, what was it, the man yoga?
I was going to say, dude, if anyone in the world could help me make, what was it called? Man Stretch.
Man Stretch, yeah.
Copyrighted. No one gets to take this. The idea being, it's just dude yoga. Like, I don't want to go learn about my chakras. I don't want to listen to harp music. I want to like show up and stretch like a mamma jamma for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes tops to like death metal. Like, I just want to get in there and like intensely stretch the same way that I want to like go to the gym and just work out like someone on fire. Like, I want to do the same thing but with stretching, and then at the end we all like drink a beer or like throw an axe or fist fight or something super manly.
Something manly.
Yeah.
That would be ideal. I mean, in your mind, man, even when there's nice music playing, you're screaming. If you're in a deep stretch, I'm sure you guys know.
Every time I've gone to yoga with Dylan, actually that's not
every
true,
time.
The first time. It's been
He's been one time. He's been one time ever.
I've been once in a studio and then that one time in the park.
Okay, two times ever.
Yeah. The first time I horrendously hurt myself.
Oh shoot!
Because Dylan and I are oddly competitive sometimes. Like, it's either completely on or completely off. Like, we both know our strengths, so like, if the other one is just obviously going to be better, we have no problem. We'll have a good time. But if it's like remotely close, it gets super aggressively competitive.
I love it. I can imagine you guys doing BMX and doing that.
So I'm like,
he's better at me than BMX for sure.
So I'm like,
I guess riding dirt jumps maybe less so.
Exactly.
Bike control, I got him on bike control sometimes. But.
Yeah, it varies. And so I'm like, I show up to this yoga thing and like definitely at the time, my opinion was like, yoga is stupid. I'm fine. And so my goal was to be stretchier, whatever that looked like. And so
I want to be Gumby.
I like fully dislocated my hip for like 2 days. It was awful. I couldn't walk or anything. Like we're leaving. I'm like, yeah, man, that was great. I'm fine. And then like immediately like limping to my car.
Oh my God. I've never even heard
awful.
of that.
Yeah. I like fully blew my hip out.
Dislocate your hip.
It was bad. It was really bad.
You hyperextended hip flexor or something, but
it was awful.
That sounds right.
It's like probably top 5 pains for sure I've ever had.
Isn't it funny how that stuff hurts way more than some of the other things, like the slams and
I've broken bones and it hurt
yeah.
way less. Muscle injuries are definitely the worst ones.
Muscle ligament, yeah. Well, Christine, my girlfriend, was stretching her hamstring like on the ground, just doing it, and she tore something back here that connects to her femur, and it still messes with her. Wow. It's like, I mean, it's undiagnosed, but she still feels it, and that was probably 4 or 5 months ago, just from literally like just doing a hamstring stretch, you know.
That's nuts. That's like genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, that is the one thing. Like it's hard to know how far, because you have to push it, just like strength training. You have to push your stretches to the limit and try and get past that. But then you do something like that, and you're screwed for
life.
5 months, 6 or life. Yeah,
a bit. Yeah, hopefully not life, but yeah, a bit.
I bet it.
Yeah.
Like. You're 60, you know which hamstring is the rough one. Like, it shows up.
Yep. Back when I was stretching, I had
I'm
25.
sure I'm going to feel every one of the ligament things that I've done to my body over the years.
Yeah. I bet with BMX, those guys go so hard.
That's why like man stretch is such a good idea, because like if anything would help me the most, it is just being like a weird ball of jelly, so every time I hit the ground I'm just like completely loose and flexible.
There you go.
And I just can't stand any yoga I've ever like heard of. Like it's just so like Allie will come back from a yoga session, she's like, oh, so great, and it takes like an hour and a half, and I'm like, I just want to get in, stretch, and get out. Like I don't want any fluff.
Yep, I feel you.
We should talk. Let's talk to Jackie. I mean, this could be our next.
And we have
YouTube
a friend
channel.
that's like an actual yogi.
There you go.
What's her nuts? Noelle, Shanti's mom, is like an actual. She like went to Asia and like studied in like the woods with a sensei, like real deal.
Right.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I feel like if we got Jackie the PT and Noelle to like set up some kind of, that's the thing. I like this very much, you guys.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan.
Especially in Denver, if anywhere, it would work here.
Yeah, I'm like...
Well, I think YouTube, though, is the first step, and to see if anybody's even into it. You have to test your ideas before diving into like a brick and mortar location.
Yeah, start renting something for $3 a month. And
I don't think any of us have enough capital to just be blowing rent on a space in Denver.
Yeah, especially in Denver.
Testing an idea.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially in Denver because... I don't know. Denver's a little bit hipster. I don't know if there's...
But that's why I think it would work.
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. There's a lot of guys here and there's a lot of yoga. And so, I mean, they're exposed to it all the time.
But none of them go.
Yeah, dude, I'm the only one in there every time.
Yeah,
only guy.
I've definitely been in that situation.
It just seems so draining. Like, I'm like, I don't know if I have the ability to just sit in a place and be calm for an hour. Like, it's so rough. I need
calm the mind, man.
Intensity.
Yeah.
Like the 5-minute nap you do at the end of yoga,
dude,
drives me nuts. I can't handle it.
That's literally the best part of yoga.
That's the best part.
That is 100% the best part.
Because I'm like, I just worked out. I have all this blood in my muscles. I feel so alive. Quick, everyone just quietly do nothing for 5 minutes. And I'm like, I want to go challenge someone in a physical battle. Like, I feel as good as I feel. Why am I not doing something with this?
You know what you should do? You should do jiu-jitsu.
I did for a long time.
There you go. Yeah.
I had a blast.
I bet.
Oh,
I can imagine. I think I'm sure you'd love it.
Yeah. Same problem though. Like I wasn't stretching or like doing anything, and I was
getting tighter and tighter. And
exactly.
Yep.
I need some form of like. Our friend is a PT, and every time she's like, gives me shit because of how, like, she can tell how I walk and like everything.
Yeah.
And just
She's like, your toes are coming in. And
I think we took a ninja kick photo, and she commented on the photo, like from a photo of me in action. She's like, your hamstrings are all messed up. You should really work on that. I was like,
yes.
God damn it, Jackie.
Dude, I know, man. My brother wants to be a PT, and he's already smarter than most people I know at physical therapy.
Oh, there's so much to learn. Like,
so
if you're
much.
into it,
dude,
it's a bottomless
He
hole.
got the, what is that book called? That medical book? It's like Gray's something. But it shows the body in the most detailed drawings you could ever see. All the muscles, all the organs, everything. And he got that probably his senior year of high school. Because he was going to...
committed.
Yeah, and he just started studying. He loves it. And
That's
so,
wild.
Yeah, he's been a good tool to use.
Does he live out in...
He lives here.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So my immediate family all live here.
That's super nice.
It's the best, yeah. I wish more did, but yeah, immediate's good enough.
Yeah, settle for that.
Yeah, I just love huge family gatherings, and that's the best.
Yeah.
At Thanksgiving.
Are you and your family pretty competitive? Because I feel like you're a pretty competitive person.
I am to an extent, for sure.
Like, if it's something you feel like you're... like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Like, if you feel like there's even a slight chance that you could podium, you want to...
You go for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, shooting, skeet shooting, I was trash at. I was like, I kind of felt a little good. I was like, I might be able to hit something, nothing.
Dude, we were all
horrible.
so bad.
So bad.
Breathtakingly shit.
Yeah. And that
So
guy
bad.
was so funny. The one that was just chilling next to us. The
Yeah,
whole time
Toothless Joe. We had Mike last week, and he was like telling us how that dude like pulled out that weird raptor claw knife and like threw it on his lap. It was nuts. It was so crazy.
That was hilarious. But yeah, I feel you on that. But my brother's, one's 21. He's about to turn 22 soon. The other one's 19. And so I've always been old enough that I would just kill them at everything. And so, I mean, that got built into my DNA super deep. So now, if I'm not super good at something, then I hate it, And so, yep, that's kind of...
Dylan, tell us about a time that sibling rivalry showed up in your life with Taylor. Maybe in Winter Park.
Yes.
Well, my little brother, who I was always better at everything except any brain stuff. He was always way smarter.
He's crazy smart.
He would he was one of those people that didn't have to do homework and would get an A on the test. He wouldn't get straight A's because he just
didn't care enough.
Like he wouldn't do any work ever. Like he just wanted to play video games or do whatever, play outside and so we got good grades, but
yeah, I did the same thing. I got 3.0, and I think my entire high school I put in 2 hours worth of homework.
Yes.
Yeah, so I was the opposite of that. But anyway, he would always be the accident a day kid, always crying, and I would always beat him up.
Yep, I feel you.
And then he raced downhill mountain bikes for 5 years in college. And after this, we just go for a casual ride at the mountain bike park. And he, first run of the day, 9 a.m., takes off as fast as if he were in a race.
He is
just
gone.
lightning.
I love it.
But I'm like, I can't let my little brother beat me, so I just pedal my ass off to try and keep up with him. Hit the first jump on the track. He, when you race, you know how to scrub the jump where you kind of, I don't know how to do it, obviously. You bounce the suspension and you kind of don't fly over this jump to keep your speed.
You absorb the jump instead of actually pushing against it and gaining altitude.
But my BMX training has always been jump as far as possible. So I come flying at this thing and I jump it 30-ish feet and it lands straight on my head, shoulder, and neck on the lip of the next jump. And I don't recall what happened the rest of the day.
I was following Dylan, and it was the most breathtaking crash. Like, you were so unprepared to see someone go that much farther than they were supposed to.
Dude.
Like, sometimes people land in the flat bottom, but, like, to land completely on the next jump, I was like, this is insane. And Dylan, like, another, like, action sports thing is, like, we're so quick to, like, as long as nothing's literally insanely, devastatingly broken, quick to, like, pop up and be like, I'm good, everything's fine. And we're all just like, why don't we take it easy for a second? And over the course of the next, like, 30 minutes, we find out he has, like, the craziest concussion and, like...
Oh, my God.
Yeah, but...
Well, so the story I was told, because I don't recall, but so we were sitting there, and I took my helmet off, and then they're like, they point to my helmet like, Dylan, is that your helmet? And I look at it, I'm like, and it's just like a raptor clawed it. And I look at it, I'm like, oh no, did I do that? And then I get distracted and talk about something else for a second. And then I look back at the helmet and I'm like, oh no, what happened to my helmet?
And they're like, something's wrong.
Yeah, like that's multiple times he would like look back at it and be like, oh man, whose helmet is that? And we're like, yours, buddy. Did it look like that when you got the helmet? I don't know. And then like a couple minutes and go back.
Look at the pine tree over there. Is there a butterfly?
Oh my God, whose helmet is that? That looks bad. And we're like, oh.
You're like, we need to get to the hospital.
So I recall, the first thing I recall is around 1 p.m. I somehow tricked the paramedics into letting me go home.
Yeah, they make you do like a memory test of like you have to memorize like a certain combination of letters, numbers, words.
And somehow I tricked them into thinking that I knew when I really didn't.
I think you did.
I think you guys. Well, you guys may have helped me.
Someone was definitely trying to help you, and then they caught them helping you. They were not psyched.
Oh,
we're like, he's fine. They're like, he's not fine.
Yeah, you can't remember this.
But
I did break my collarbone, and that was really uncomfortable for many months, and also ended up I lived in California at the time.
Oh, that's right.
And it ended up having me move back here. So.
Oh. Have you been back ever since?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I forgot that that's why you moved back. That's nuts. Yeah, because I mean, there's nothing you could do. Like, have you ever broken anything or like had massive injuries with like all the working out you've done? Like, I feel like it's a different kind of injury, or maybe like sports and stuff.
Yeah. Fortunately, I've never had a lifting accident, which I'm super grateful for. Well, when I first started lifting, I had a weight bench right outside my room in the basement. It was like my room, living room in the basement, and then that was just my domain. It was just a weight bench, and that was it. And so pretty much every day I'd work out on that weight bench. And sometimes, man, I'd be maxing out by myself, and I couldn't get it. And then I'm just like, oh my God, what in the world do I do now? So you try tipping it this way, and you can't move anything, so you end up rolling it down your body. That happened multiple times. So those are close ones.
Those are real close calls.
Never had any of that, but I've broken my, I shattered my cheekbone and my radial.
What?
And my jaw bone right here from trampoline.
Dude.
Yep.
Trampolines are hands down the funnest childhood.
And most dangerous.
Like, nothing but joy.
Yeah.
And also nothing but accidents.
Dude.
How did it happen?
I was at Jump Street. And
dang,
if you've ever been to Jump Street, all the trampolines are so stiff. It's insane. Like, they're big runway like trampolines, and they kind of go up like this. So I'm in the middle, but they're pretty bouncy. And so I go for a double front flip.
Okay, there is a sign that specifically says no doubles, if I recall.
That's probably because of me. This is before that.
Okay.
Because this was when I was like 16, so this is like 10
old
years ago.
School.
So this is like a year or so after, or even the same year that Jump Street opened-ish. Yeah. At least the one in Littleton that I went to. Like, that was the first time I've ever seen one.
Yeah, over off of Arapahoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, we used to make the trek from Parker.
Dude, that place is sick, number one. But yeah, I went for the double. And so what broke my cheekbone and everything was my knee. I did the double, landed it like almost, and then just
Knee to the face.
Foot, knee to face. My knee didn't feel anything, but my face was absolutely crushed. I get knocked out. I had a headband on or something, a bandana. Flew off like 30 feet. And
oh my God.
So it was a hard hit. But then to get up, one of the refs or whatever for Jump Street comes over and he's like, "You okay?" And so I go to the bathroom and my cheek is literally caved in. Oh. So it collapsed. And I was like, no fucking way.
That is so savage.
Yeah. That was the most intense thing, man. And then
I can't imagine looking in the mirror and just seeing that.
Yeah. I was like, what did I do? So this was like probably a year after I broke my tib fib on my leg on a trampoline, doing kind of a double flip as well, but I was trying to go to my back and my leg just got caught under when I was spinning and it just snapped because my body weight came down on it, and I hit my back and I bring my leg up and I literally see it snap back into place.
Oh.
But I was super grateful for that because it wasn't a compound fracture anymore. It snapped back and it was in line. Fortunately, so they just put a cast on it, and I was good.
Best case scenario.
Yeah,
that
best
is
case.
Insane. I can't believe how lucky that is.
Have you been on a trampoline since?
Yeah.
Yeah. When are we going to Jump Street, boys?
Yeah, I'm gonna stay away from Jump Street, but I've been to a few trampoline places. Yeah,
yeah,
but
you gotta
I don't
get
go
that
as crazy
off
anymore.
Your back. Yeah, for sure.
I still have never landed the double front. Dude, so I just can't bring myself to do it.
Yeah, especially on those super stiff tramps.
Those are the little ones. Like at the place that we go, Spider Monkey. They have like the Olympic ones.
Yes.
Like that, you could do it, no problem.
And
the
like
Olympic ones.
Real deal foam pits to actually practice, not to where you just have to genuinely huck it.
Yeah. Yes. I've been to a couple of those places, and so I go pretty ham there still, but yeah, those Olympic trampolines, those are the ones you got to do it on.
Dude, that is, I think probably the gnarliest thing you could break is your face.
It was pretty intense. So they had to rebuild it, so it's all titanium mesh underneath my eye, on the orbital, and right here.
Full-blown RoboCop right now?
Mm-hmm.
That's sick.
Yeah. So, and you can't tell, the surgeon did a great job.
Dude,
I still thank him for it. Yeah. Yeah, but I still have the the little X-ray. And then all the diagrams of what he was going to do, like metal plate here, mesh here. And so that's pretty intense to look at sometimes because I forget, Oh, and there's a plate right here, too, because it broke the jawbone up high. Just from the impact. So
that's something you don't even think about. You go to have fun, jump on a trampoline, and then
smashed.
Titanium face.
Yep.
Yeah, because you might be ready for a broken wrist or an ankle or something, but you're never ready to blow your face out.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yep, that was the last thing I would have thought of. Going for the double, I thought, worst case scenario, I'll land on my back or my butt or something. And nope.
Dang.
Need a face. It means I almost landed it though.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if
it had been an actual Olympic tramp, you probably would have had enough give.
Right.
But you basically just did a 10-foot double flip to concrete.
To nothing.
These things are
it was so stiff. That was the worst, but
dang.
So, yeah.
I mean, that's just a good lesson, though. Never think of the worst case scenario. Always think of the best case.
Yep.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Because most of the time, it works out.
That's right. And if the worst case is going to happen, it's going to happen. Don't sit there and it's like when you're sliding in a car, don't oh God, I hope I don't hit that tree. I hope I don't hit that tree.
Yeah.
Because you're just staring at the tree the whole time and you're just going to drive straight into it.
Yep. You got to look where you want to go.
Yeah.
For sure. Oh man.
So that's you were talking about real estate and everything that you got into for that. Was that you tell us more about that trip to Hawaii, because I think that's such a cool moment that you had where it sounds like it was kind of just an aha moment, for lack of cooler word, is this is something that needs to change, and kind of what were some of the actions you started changing and some of that.
Yeah, a whole bunch. So we went down there, and before that, I've always wanted to be, I've always had a want to be, financially independent, because I don't think what everybody's doing.
Yeah, because you're a human being. Yeah.
yeah. Because I don't think what everybody else is doing is worth anything.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna, eventually not do it, and hopefully soon. So, anyways, go down there, and when I had a vacation for that long, which I've never had before, it really makes you just reset your entire mindset. You know, you're in the constant rat race, doing the thing, and then you have a time to just sit and relax. So after the first week or so, you're like in a really different mood, and you can really think about things more long term with more clarity. So I was like, how am I going to be able to just do whatever I want in the future?
That's a good point.
How can I just come here for 2 months or a year and literally not do anything but still make money? And so then that started narrowing things down more and more. But my dad and I, and my brothers too, when we were moving around, so especially in Ohio and Maryland, my dad would do house flipping. And so he would go and find a place, FSBOs as he called them, for sale by owners, go and find those, work out a deal, buy them, fix them, flip them. And so this was in the early 2000s, late 1990s.
Tons of money to be made,
Yeah, and then so he was telling me just on the loan programs they had, it was a lot easier back then to just, get things like that. But so he started doing that, and we would go and help him. We would go and, we'd be up on the roof putting shingles on. We'd be in the yard doing landscaping. We'd be tearing carpet out. We'd be doing all this stuff with him, and it was just me and my dad, my 2 brothers. We're just going in there and killing it. And so that, I kept thinking back to that, because that was super fun. I loved doing it. I just wanted to get back to real estate. So my dad did maybe, 4 or 5 house flips in total between Ohio and Maryland. And then when we came here, my parents ended up splitting up, so he had to get, a real job.
Yeah.
Because my mom was working. He was stay-at-home dad, but he wanted to, try and make cash some other way.
Contribute in whatever way he could.
Yeah, and he started making some good money at it too. But then we moved here, market's different, some things changed, and that kind of stopped. He's back in it now, thankfully. But yeah, so I kept thinking back to that. And eventually, started watching more videos on real estate, really started diving deep. And I probably did, 40 hours a week studying real estate while I'm in Hawaii for those last, 3, 4, 5 weeks. And so I just dove deep, and then I started looking at jobs in Denver related to real estate, and then joined a company as an inspector because I have a little bit of construction background. Not a lot, but just enough. Worked with Jamar a little bit.
Yeah, it's actually something I've got a bone to pick with that whole industry. It's a different conversation, but it's crazy how little someone actually needs to know about anything to be a housing inspector.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so I was going around for this management company doing inspections, just basically seeing if anything was wrong. I had no idea what I was doing in the beginning. And then I did that for a few months. They liked me, and then one of the property managers left. And so I asked them if I could, be a property manager, give it a shot since I knew the systems and everything. And so they just went in and started training me, and then I eventually got my license, went to another company, and so that's what I've been doing here. But long term, a lot of things changed for as far as like my behavior, what I was doing each day, my money consumption, everything. During that Hawaii time, everything started changing, so I could just put all my resources into saving to buy real estate and just only doing that, only focusing on that. Not, our cars are super cheap, we bought them for cash, trying to have no debts other than that, and just keep putting the cash towards it. And the more units you buy, the more you'll make passively, and the sooner you can get out of here.
Yeah, because they say it's like somewhere around like 7 to 10 different properties is around where you can be like a full-time do nothing.
Yeah, more or less.
Like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so I have 2 places down there now, and they're a duplex. And so if you get a decent amount of those, you'll be sitting pretty for sure. You can do that there, you can do that here. It just depends on your market and what you want to do with it. But
that's awesome.
7 or so properties would be perfect.
Yeah, our buddy Brian just got his 3rd or 4th house. It's insane to me that I know people our age who are so well put together, is like you and Brian. I'm finally in a place where I don't have any debt, and that's nice. All of our cars are paid for. We have very low bills, but we also have very low income, so it's a little bit of both. Yeah. We have a lot of freedom in the sense that we don't really have much to pay for.
Yeah, which is great.
Which is incredible, but also it's so nuts to me that I have friends who have bought a house before they were 23. I'm like, how is that humanly possible? It's so crazy. And not because they had money.
Right.
They were just smarter than me earlier than I was.
I know. I still wish I started sooner than I did.
Dude, yeah. I have a buddy who's just turned 21, who's never not lived in his parents' house.
Yep.
And he went and bought a massive truck to go because like he has no bills, so why wouldn't he? I was like, dude, that $400 a month car payment, you could own a house by the time you're 22. You could straight up own a house.
Yeah, just by saving it, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the earlier you start implementing these things, cutting down all your costs and maximizing your income, and the income will keep going the more that you learn and develop as a person. I mean, they say you only earn as much as you're worth. So,
yeah,
you know, just keep on the education, and you can, like you said, you can become a millionaire in a million different ways.
Yeah.
So, follow it.
Dude, that's so rad. Like, what are some of the things that really blew your mind as you like? It sounds like you really, truly like expanded your mind in a really unique way when you moved from Hawaii to, or like that last little bit of Hawaii and then moving back.
Yeah.
What are some of those things that like really blew your mind as you moved back, kind of transitioned into like normal life again?
Right.
Where you just, the brain can't unlearn something.
Yeah.
Right? Like once it's thought something, experienced something, felt something, it can never go back.
It can never go away.
So what were some of those things that like really you were like, wow, that blew the lid off of this? Or?
Well, just staying at that house, really. I mean, somebody who can own, you know, that house and, you know, they're not working, you know, they're just chilling.
Yeah, just chilling.
So, and that's one of
beach
3
house in Hawaii.
Yeah, one of 3 houses. And so just that, I mean, unless you're exposed to somewhere that you've never even thought of, like owning, you know, $3-5 million homes at a time and, you know, just chilling, just going between them all whenever you want.
That's
with no ties, nothing. I mean, that really opened my mind up. I'm like, that is a possibility, because my mom, you know, she worked, you know, 60, 70, 80 hours a week, you know, the whole time that we were growing up, and she killed it, and she was the breadwinner. She did everything for us. But during that time, I mean, we missed out on a huge chunk. She missed out on a huge chunk of our lives, and we missed out getting to know our mom as well as we probably could have. And our relationship is great now. But during those times, I mean, it was tough, you know, and so I never want to put my kids in that position. I want to be able to stay home every day, all day with them up until they start going to school, you know? yeah, and then get out of here, you know?
Go outside.
I want to have that ability to just, you know, be with them at all times, number one, or, you know, go with Christine and we'll go on a trip for wherever, however long. There's no ties, you know, keeping you here. So that's the ultimate goal.
Those no ties is the biggest thing.
No
like
ties.
too often people tie themselves down with like different types of debt, or tie themselves down with like a job that's like super constricting because it pays well, but it's like, yeah, we'll pay you well, but you get 3 days of vacation a year or something insane like that, to where like you're so locked in. And that's kind of where Allie and I were like, we don't have an immediate solution to making significantly more money.
Right.
But it's pretty easy for us to live below our means. And that is such a big part of what you're talking about. Is like, I'm sure that guy who has 3 $5 million houses in Maui could probably have like 8.
Yeah.
You know, like, but he's
exactly.
on, like, which is insane to think about.
Right. And in order to get to that level,
chill.
Yeah, exactly. You have to, you know, live below your means. And sometimes, especially in the beginning, well below your means. You know, you're not renting as much as you can, but people these days, that's all they do. As soon as they can afford a huge house, you know, they buy to their absolute limit. Cars buy to the absolute limit with everything, you know, and they're buying expensive this and that. And they're not saving any money, so they're not actually making forward progress anywhere, and they're just betting on, maybe I'll get that raise, you know, maybe this will happen, maybe that will happen.
Lucky.
Yeah, maybe we'll get lucky, rather than planning for none of that to happen and just going off of...
Well, you have to post your Mercedes or Ferrari to Instagram.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, what are you doing?
Social media is making it so much worse.
I know. It's so funny, like, how pressured we all feel to, like I feel it all the time, like, with our Joy Quota stuff. I'm in a weird place. I was talking about my friend Trey, who has a YouTube channel that's starting to take off, and, like, he's making money with it, and I was like, it's so weird, because he'll get, like, hit up by strangers for, like, car advice now, because it's a, I think it's called Hooligans. Something like that, Hooligans Auto or something. But like, he gets hit up now by like random strangers who like find him through the internet, and like he's a part of their life now. And like, I've got one YouTube channel that I'm a really big fan of, where like I have to check myself all the time. I'm like, you don't you don't know any of these people. Like,
right. Yes.
like you don't know, like they wouldn't be able to pick you out of a lineup, dude. Like you cannot get all emotionally wrapped up in what these people are doing.
Right.
Like all the time I have to remind myself, like, it's entertaining, it's fun. That is in no way like
impactful.
Yeah, it's not. I don't know these people, and like, hopefully with our channel and with our podcast, like I'll hopefully have that same level of influence at some point, because I really believe in what we're doing at Joy Quota and like the message we want to share. But I'm in this weird place of knowing that I'm not technically a part of the, like, it's weird, right? Like,
right.
How do I accept the fact that we aren't technically a part of the lives, or like our listeners aren't a part of our lives in like a day-to-day sense, and hopefully we're like touching their lives. It's all a very weird experience to me, because like
I bet
I'm learning more about myself, that I could be a bit of a curmudgeon and just be like an old man in the woods with a shotgun and some property, like very easily.
Yep, I feel
And so it's weird to like welcome it in, and that's kind of my weird learning process.
Yeah.
What has it been like as you go through, like you were talking earlier before we started, of how you're kind of, maybe taking over is the wrong word, but like you're really in someone's shoes right now with the property management that you're doing now, of like being really a part of that person's life, and like you're seeing things that maybe most people don't when they see this guy, and really getting to know that lifestyle. Has there been any changes or like learning curves with that?
Huge. Yeah, absolutely. Well, this this family is super interesting, but yeah, I'm basically coming in and taking over for everything he has been doing for 30 years. He started buying properties in the 80s. He's managed them every day and up until now. And so handing that over, number one, is huge for him, which I'm sure it is. And it's tough. But for me, massive learning curve, because things happen all the time. 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday, whenever he calls, I have to be ready. I have to answer, or tenants, or who knows. And so I'm learning a lot, which is what I wanted initially. When I first got into this whole industry, I wanted to learn how to be a good property manager so I can manage my own properties, when I get to a certain point where, if I want to do that, and I want to learn the industry front to back so I can make the best investments, know what to do in certain situations that most people wouldn't unless you have that experience.
Yeah, unless you've got boots on the ground.
Exactly. Yeah. And so I've been boots on the ground for a couple of years, but this situation is what I was looking for since the beginning. I wanted to be with somebody that I eventually would want to kind of be, in a sense. Now, if I was where he was, I would give it to a management company and say, thanks, bye.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I'll see you. Yeah, but that's just the kind of guy he is. He's a German guy. He's
everything has its very specific place, yes?
Yeah. He's he's a great guy, but he's a hard ass. Yeah. But I mean, I'm learning a whole bunch, a ton, and just that alone is worth, every minute I'm working on Sunday night or whenever. And so I've been loving it. That's been great.
That has to be hard to like that balance, right? Of like, you don't want to go, I mean, my phone is off at 9 o'clock on a Sunday night.
Or every time he's napping midday.
Right. Yep.
And to be like, I really don't want to do this, but you need to, and it's for the long-term benefit.
Right. Exactly. And it's been definitely a very interesting experience, but it's been great.
Yeah. I'm impressed at how, like, you and Jamar both are very long-term thinkers. Yeah. And I've had the privilege and handicap of, I feel like I'm a very lucky person. I feel like on top of that, like, I'm very adaptable. Like, I love quick thinking and like how to make something work as it's falling apart kind of stuff. Like, I'm just good at it. And I spent a lot of time growing up in a BMX team where like that was the entire model. It's like this guy was getting paid to do what he loved and paying me to do what I loved, all based on zero planning.
Right.
Like zero is maybe the wrong word, but like it was all fly by the seat of your pants type stuff. And that is a skill set I'm very proud of, but I'm infinitely more in awe and in wonder of people like yourself and Jamar who are just so good at thinking of the end game.
Yeah.
I wish it wasn't true, but every time anything comes up, my first reaction is like, it'll work out. Name one time it hasn't worked out. Never.
All right,
let's keep going.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So
exactly.
like, I'm so impressed by like the discipline it takes to have a long-term focus like that.
And that really is what it takes too, because it's, you know, if you want to make $10,000 a month passively, it's going to take this many properties. It's going to take this long for us to save up. You know, when it starts compounding, that's when it's going to go faster. But, you know, our timeline's, you know, 4 years down the line until we want to be where we want to be. My girlfriend and I, who, you know, we've talked about marriage multiple times, you know.
Yeah.
So it's on its way. But yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time. We're super open about it. But yeah, we're thinking long term. We're like, all right, yeah, in about 3 years, we're going to be doing this. And that's super tough to do. In some senses, it kind of locks you into where you're at. You're like, shit, you know, if I quit this job or like if something happens and I lose it, you know, I might not be able to get a job that pays that much. That's going to set our timeline back. So you're just putting more stresses on yourself to really succeed, really do well. In some senses, that can be bad, but in other senses, it can be really good, especially if that's what you need. And if you're working towards that end goal and you really have it in mind, that's the starting point. And really, you got to work backwards from there to where you're
this
at.
This is the finish line. How do I map where I am to the finish line?
Right. This is the finish line. This is where I'm at. This is the road it's going to take to get there, or multiple roads. You know, which one are we going to take? Let's stick to the plan and do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's tough. It really is. Like sometimes I want to go out and go on a vacation or buy this car or do this. And especially with social medias and everything these days, it makes it that much tougher. Everybody's connected, which is one of the reasons why I deleted all social medias like a year and a half ago. I just got rid of it because I'm like, I need to focus. Yeah, this is distracting me. You know, I can only see the Bahamas so many times. I'm gonna go there for real. I don't need to see you anymore. Bye. You know, and so, but yeah, I mean,
I think that's like a very millennial thought. Like I think all of the generations before us didn't have the privilege of seeing as much as we've seen by the time we're 26. Even if it's not in person, right? Like, I've Googled every last place on Earth.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I've seen underwater photos of crazy places. I've seen mountainscapes I'll never probably go to. I've seen so much, and the world feels so small.
Right.
And we've had the privilege of getting everything as quick as we could possibly want it. Like, we're right in that range where, like, we remember doing book reports with actual books. Right. But the next year we got LimeWire. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So we didn't have to get CDs. So like, I think millennials are like the first generation that's not going to wait until they're old to go do other things, which is awesome. But I think we've also missed out on the big part of it that you haven't, which is like we have to be massively disciplined for a couple of years.
Yeah.
You know, 5, maybe even 10 years.
Yeah. Of
like intense discipline. And then it's playtime.
Yeah.
And that's not something that millennials, certainly not me. Like Allie is much better at this stuff than I am. That's the entire point of marriage, is to marry
balance
up.
It out.
I don't know a single guy where I'm like, you didn't punch up when you got married. I've never met a guy where I'm like, you aren't better because of her. Like a single person.
Right. Yeah.
So,
I think we all need that to a certain extent.
So like, it's so funny to me that we're the first generation that knows that we aren't going to wait. And we're also the first generation that doesn't feel like we have to earn it. In some senses.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Because there's so much opportunity now that has never existed.
Absolutely. The interconnectedness of everything. You can look for a job in Baltimore right now and you can, call them up or submit your resume.
I could move to Baltimore or I could have everything set up. A house, a job, a car, anything I could possibly need before I even went out there.
Right, which is absolutely insane to me. The times that we're living in now and that we're going to be living in, I think it's going to get progressively crazier.
That's why it seems so important to have that financial independence as things get wilder and wilder.
Right, so then you can go take the trips to the moon, up and around it, and chill.
Well, the robots are going to take all the jobs and... I don't even want to deal with it. I'm just going to leave.
I think the more that the AI takes the medial jobs away, we'll have more. We'll create more jobs into two things. I think space exploration, number one, and then uncovering more stuff from our past too. Getting the real story of what exactly happened, because so many things are still uncovered. Number one, going there, but then the space exploration thing is going to be, I think, the next and final frontier.
Wait, go back into the past thing. What do you mean by going back into the past?
I don't know, man, because I've watched multiple things. I've heard things. I've done my own research on what we've been taught is the past, what actually is the past. And it's good to go to other cultures and see what they think about the same thing, because especially in America and American schools, I think we're super biased towards America being the best.
We're not getting fed the whole story.
No, we're definitely not.
No shot.
Like, in what regard? I'm curious.
Like, I was in my 20s before anyone told me that because of Columbus, we also genocided a whole bunch of people and they all died of smallpox. Like, that never came up at any point that there was a single bad thing about Thanksgiving.
Yeah, they talked about the Trail of Tears for about 3 seconds, and that was about it.
But look, we got a new TV.
Yeah, but I mean, there's where all of civilization really started. They say Africa. They're finding more evidence that there was people here 100,000 years ago in North America too, and that throws everything out of whack. I mean, just the more that we can dig into that, put more resources towards that, put more resources towards space.
This is an interesting question. What do you think the value of that is? Because I hear, my dad is real into space exploration.
Okay.
Because he was our age, maybe a little younger, when people started going to the moon. Right. So that was his big, that was defined his entire life in that point. Because that was the craziest thing that now we're all so jaded from movies, and everything is impressive now. Everything.
Yeah.
We have cars that drive themselves. Everything is insane. So, but to be in the 60s, early 70s, and people are going to the moon, insane.
Yeah. And they just created a car, 7 years ago.
Yeah. So it's
they lived in a very interesting time too.
So he always talks to me about how important it is to explore space. And I'm like, is it that important, or should we?
Well, yeah, because we're going to destroy this planet, so we need to find a new planet
exactly.
pretty quick.
So it's funny because my first thought is we should really be doing
more here.
We should be pointing the telescope inwardly and turn it into a microscope and start figuring out
first
kind of some of the, whether it's social or not issues, whether it's just funny things about how the brain works and men and women's dynamic works, and how so everything is so interconnected.
Yeah, but there's some people that do that, and some people just want to make rocket ships. It's their passion. You're not going to tell Elon Musk to go become a
yogi.
Yeah, exactly. Or
politician or something.
Dive into relationships.
My only relationship is to gravity, because I'm going to the fucking moon.
No, he's going past the moon. He's going to Mars. That's
Mars.
all he's ever wanted to do. That's what he's passionate about. So he's going to do it.
That's where he's going to die.
You can't just some people are that passionate about space, and then that's just the way it is.
That, I think, is the best argument I've heard I've asked many people that question of is it actually all that important?
I think it's all important. And with more people that we get on the planet, we're going to have more resources to go into all these different fields at the same time. That's why the medical industry is advancing hugely. Health in general, space, technology, it's all just, it's on that J curve right now. And the next 10 years are going to be like the past 100 as far as growth.
Yeah, it's pretty insane how quick things move nowadays.
Yeah.
My dad tells me times of the 70s or 80s or even early 90s, but things were so chill. And now it's every 3 or 4 days. Tomorrow we could learn something that reshapes our entire existence, and the entire world would know about this one new discovery or thing that changes the way that the entire globe almost, billions of people see something, and then the next day everyone could have new information that changed their mind.
Yeah.
That's insane.
It is. I think it's one of the benefits of living in this age is that something can happen in, who knows where, middle of nowhere, Russia, and we'll all know about it the next day.
If that long, yeah.
If that long,
Dude,
maybe same day.
Snapchat's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's where I get the most of my news is Snapchat. You know, it's you can. I've gone like all over the globe, and you just click random spots. You can just see people's stories, you know, in Russia or China or whatever, and just, you know, get immersed in their culture for a second, and then pop back over here.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is so wild.
Yeah.
All of this just makes me very afraid of the machine. The robots. Terminator is real, and we're going to cause it. That's my ultimate opinion on this.
Well, what about Neuralink? Us getting combined with AI.
That's a terrible idea. I don't like it at all.
I mean, that's literally Elon
yeah.
Musk's happening in like a year or two.
Mhm.
Like that's very, very
idea.
soon.
They
That's
drill
terrifying.
a hole in your head, and then they have, you know, things that are 1/10 the size of a human hair. A little robot goes in there and plugs it in different spots in your brain, and then plugs the hole. And you can have up to 10 at a time, with I think it's 100 hairs coming out each one, or 10 hairs coming out each one. So
we talked earlier about how the brain can't unlearn something, and I'm probably not going to sleep tonight because of that. That is my actual nightmare. That is so scary.
it sounds insane, and it literally goes into your brain, and it's the size of a neuron, and it just kind of immerses itself in your brain. But the first thing that they're going to use it for is helping people with paralysis be able to move again, because it's literally just lighting those spots in your brain to move it again, even if that connection has been broken in the past. So especially people who have were born with paralysis, or, you know, got it over time. So that's what they're going to use it for first. But they also said, and this is how you turn into a superhuman.
Yeah, I was also going to say, and that's also how everything terrible in the entire universe happens.
Because if it's all linked,
right there.
if that gets hacked, everybody's hacked.
Yeah, I don't even like that cars are on the internet now.
Yeah.
They've like done studies of people like hacking into like
I can
Chevy
imagine.
Sparks or like
The Clintons
stuff
do
like
it.
that.
Yeah, they kill people that way.
Yep.
I don't know about any politics on it, but I do. They've done like news stories of like they just get like some dude who says he's a hacker,
Right.
and then they put one of their buddies in the car and, all right, go drive down the freeway, John. And then
Crash.
15 seconds later, the car's completely turned off. The hazards are going off, and he's just parked in the fast lane on the highway.
That's a good
freaking
friend.
out.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah.
friends would just be like, "I'm taking you for a ride."
Yeah,
Right.
I know. So it's like
Yeah.
that's insane. To
So
me.
if
that's
some
the
entity,
temptation, is it seems like there is truly so much good that could come from that, but there's no way it's
Absolutely.
going to stop at good.
Well, yeah, because that's going back to humans. Like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
even if
Microscope, not telescope.
99.9% are good, there's still 7 billion, and they're producing more every second.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know the math on that, but I bet it's a lot.
That's a
of
lot.
people.
I bet the
And that
number is
0.1.
several digits.
Perhaps, yes. I bet it's several million.
It's insane. Yeah. It's. Is that an actual thing? You both are looking at me like I'm insane for
What?
not knowing this.
What,
the
the-
weird robot brain stuff.
Oh yeah, Neuralink. Yeah. Well, it didn't come out that long ago. You know, his official announcement on it. But,
I didn't hear about the paralysis thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, it's a great start, and then it's going to end real badly.
Horribly.
Yeah.
And it's so strange that Elon of all people is going to do it, because he's so afraid of AI taking everything over.
He's the guy making it take over.
Right.
Perfect
No,
cover.
not necessarily.
That's
He's not the one
crazy.
making it take over.
But
But he's definitely
one of the
he's
Producing
giving
a lot of
a
the
grenade
things.
to a baby and being like, guys, it would be awful if this baby pulled the pin, right? That'd be insane.
Yes.
Yep.
He's giving a lot of the tools to the people that will be bad with it. But
Wow.
yes.
Did you guys hear about? I don't know what organization's doing it, but they transported a molecule from here to the moon and back, and were able to track it the whole time.
What?
Whoa, I didn't hear about that.
And so for me, that's saying, all right, here comes teleportation.
Again, I don't want that. I think life is supposed to be at least a little bit shitty.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and the more that we stray from normal life, the more diseases I feel like we're going to get. You know, that's why I feel like all the cancers are super prevalent. We're getting further and further away from the things that we eat, the things we do, the things we touch, the radiation that we have. It's all affecting us. So if we get into crazy stuff like that, I don't even know what can happen.
Yeah, like more kids need to be in the backyard chopping wood,
Yes.
scraping knees.
Well, supposedly they're going to cure death here in a little bit, or like
I've heard.
Yeah.
life extension. I mean,
Jeez.
like old age dying at least.
Yeah.
I haven't listened to the Joe Rogan podcast yet, but he just had a guy on that.
I started listening to that one. They're really big into.
Again, that all sounds terrible.
Like with stem cells and who knows what else. Like, you're not gonna have to die.
Well, they said the first person
by the time
to live to 150 has already been born.
I have heard that.
You heard that?
That's not shocked about that.
But that's long.
Because there are people who live to like 100 living off like Coca-Cola and cigarettes.
Yeah, like 120 already. And stuff. Yeah, which is insane to me.
Yeah, I don't care about living to 150. I want to be like this, like physical body until I'm 100, and then it's fine. But
right,
like I don't want because the 120 people, you still like can't do anything from like 70 to 120, so you lose 50 years of like just sitting on the couch. So what's the point?
I'm alive, but not really alive.
See, I feel like that's when all your best work gets done. Like that's when it goes from telescope to microscope, right? Like you're stuck there, you're on the back end of things, so you have a lot of experience. It's the same reason why like we're all better people than we were when we were 19. Like you've learned through just being alive, even if you weren't out and about doing stuff. Like I've never met a 19-year-old that was better than some like.
Yeah, but like you said,
or like I've never met a 20-something.
A ton of good to be. I mean, everyone will get better themselves as they get older. But like you said, with our 21-year-old friend who bought this expensive car, like you can't. It's so hard to impart that knowledge that you learn throughout your life to that younger generation. Like they'll never accept it. Like no matter what you say to this person, like he's not going to not buy crazy cars. Like he has to learn it for himself. And then by then it's like, it's past.
Yeah. I feel like our generation, like I feel like everyone I talk to when I talk about like Allie and I's relationship and some of the like things I've learned about like the human animal and how we interact with each other, I get a lot of, because I like talking to old people about it. I'm like, I want to hear from the people who've been married for literally 60 years. Like, how'd you make that happen? Or like, I want to hear about, I want to learn from people who've been around. And like, everyone I know that's in their like 60s is like, you're where I was at like 5 fucking years ago. Because that's where I just chose to do the work versus like there's people like you where you have put in like the discipline financially to be where people were at in their like 40s and 50s, 60s, to where they're going to look at you and be like, dude, you're 30 and you're where I was at when I was like 70. Right. So like, I think we have access now for the first time to those people's like it used to just be whoever was in your little village was the only knowledge you got to choose from. And now I get to learn from people from all over the world with all kinds of who are learning based on groups of people from all over the world. That's where their information's coming from. So like it's more real, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So I feel like yes, we're all going to continue. It's part of the curve. Like you have to mess things up to learn. But I think that same 20-year-old kid is infinitely further down the line when it comes to finances than anyone else I've ever met at that age. Yeah. Like he's where you're at. Minus like he's like, yeah, I bought a $400 a month car payment because I have $7,000 in a bank account and I'm 21 and I have 0 bills other than this one car. Like that's actually a financially reasonable thing to do.
I did the same thing,
It's not the insanely disciplined thing, but he is still probably 10 years ahead of anyone else he graduated with.
And that's going to teach him a lot. I'll tell you, that taught me a lot. Because when I was 19, living at my parents' house, I had no expenses. I was working valet, making some good cash, and I went and bought an STI immediately off the bat. That was my dream car. I was like, I'm getting this thing, man. And so I did, and I loved it, and then it started breaking down a little bit, and I'm like, fuck this car, and I got rid of it. But I bought it for cash, lost some money on the sales transaction selling it, and then got leased a brand new Cadillac.
Leased it.
Leased it. And that was like over $400 a month. And so when I was in that for about a year, I was like, this thing's sick. And then I was like, this thing's cost me way too much money per month. And then I got an apartment and I'm like, what was I doing getting that car? That was just the worst decision of my life. But that taught me a lot. I'm like, that stuff is when it really starts to count. Those monthly bills every month. that you're getting, that's where you can cut down. But these days, in my opinion, there's no excuse for anybody not to be successful in the things they want to do because of the internet, because they can go on YouTube and, just like I did, watch all these successful guys. They're like, this is what you're going to have to do. This is what you're going to have to learn, this, that, and the other. To be successful at what you want to do, you can watch people. And just like you said, you're not in that village anymore. You're in the world. You can access any part of the world at any time for knowledge, for anything, experts in their field. That's why, listening to podcasts and stuff is super beneficial, because you can basically talk to an expert for 2 hours, and then come out of that and you're like, I never knew that, and I would have never known that, if I didn't have the internet. And so I think there's no excuses these days if you're at least not on your way to being who you want to be and what you want to be.
And it is awesome, but also the downside of that is anyone can call themselves an expert. And because of this internet, you could Google how to make money in real estate, and there'll be literally 10 million YouTube videos telling you how to do it, and only a fraction of them have actually done it.
Right.
And finding those could be a year-long process.
Sometimes it is, yeah, absolutely, but still closer than
definitely better than
being with no internet access, and having to find somebody that's in your area doing the same thing. But I agree with anybody being able to say anything and do anything. That's why there's so many like conspiracy theories now. It's like, well, I read this on the internet, and I'm like,
which this feels good. Relax. This is like the first conspiracy theory-esque. Like, we've been talking about like weird stuff. And I feel like we're finally a true podcast. Like, we talked about weird brain robots, AI taking over.
Yeah.
This is good. It feels cathartic.
Yeah, man. What do you guys got? Some theories that you're into?
Ooh.
I don't believe in aliens, so there's not that.
At all.
No aliens?
Aliens is the wrong word. There's definitely life on other planets, like way. Who knows where away? There's just too many planets to not have that. But UFOs actually being here? No, there's no way. Like, if you have the technology to fly a spacecraft from hundreds of millions of light years away, you're not going to crash it on the planet. Like, that's just not going to happen, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I agree.
And also, you're not going to crash, even if you did crash it on the planet, you are not immediately followed up by an armada that wipes us all out entirely. Like, there's no way, right?
Right. Like, what would be the point of that? If you get to that level where you can travel in space, I think number one, that's gonna basically enlighten every person or being in your sphere. If you can go out and explore the entire universe. Obviously, they're probably aging way slower, but yeah, you're gonna come here and just kill everybody for what? The resources.
Right. You don't need resources.
You don't need resources.
Right,
yeah.
And if you want to observe,
going the opposite. I say we definitely get wiped out. You're saying the opposite.
I don't think we would. I don't think we're worth it.
No, I'm with it. Yeah. What resources do we have? We've in less than 100 years, we've destroyed all the resources. There's some like water, maybe some diamonds left, like salt water.
There's probably like a weird element we don't even know is useful that they can just harvest.
No, they've literally proven there's hundreds of millions of planets exactly like ours all over the universe. Like, there's no way they're trying to wipe us out, unless we're some kind of threat ever. But we're we're
way too dumb for that.
Yeah.
Maybe they're coming back from the future and saying, you guys are going to wipe us out.
Terminator.
So we're wiping you out.
Back.
So, all right, maybe, but I don't know. I feel like not so much.
I did hear a theory on time travel where they will invent time travel at some point, but you will only be able to time travel back to when that time machine was invented. So you're not going to be able to travel back. So say the time machine is invented in 2020. In 2300, you'll be able to travel back to 2020, but not to 1800.
Ooh, do you know what the reasoning was? I'm genuinely fascinated by that.
I'm not smart enough. No.
You're tearing like the fabric of space and time, but at the same time, are you? Because we're in such a linear world where everything's just going to one, and then maybe it's really not like that. And then the theory that I saw was like space and time's like this, but you can go like this with it.
Yeah.
And then so you can do. That's
too much.
It's getting too much into theoretical
stuff.
But
if you could go back to any year ever, what would you go to?
Great question.
Any year? for some reason, I'm really into like the 1700s.
Ooh.
Ireland, Scotland. For some
You'd
reason.
kill it out there. You're just a giant man. You'd be like,
was that Braveheart
years
years?
and stuff?
I think that's around Braveheart years,
Okay.
yeah. And there's, especially recently, there's been a lot of like, series about that time frame. And it fascinates me a lot. And I did that Ancestry.com thing, trace my roots, and it goes back there too. And so that'd be the other reason.
Not a shocker.
But yeah, I think if anywhere, I would like to go back there just to really see how it's like. There's a show on Netflix actually called, oh my God, what is this show called? I'll think of it later. But basically, this woman lives in the 1900s.
I know what you're talking about.
Do you?
Allie watched it a couple times.
Yes. What is
She's
it
like
called?
a
I've been
medic.
watching. Yes.
Downton Abbey.
No. This chick is like a World War II medic.
Yeah.
And then the theory, or like the premise is she somehow gets transported back in time to like the 1600s in Scotland, Ireland.
Yep. Scotland. Yep.
England, Great Britain area. And she's just like, there's no going home. Like, she's just forced to be in that world now and like adjusting from being like, even the technology they had in the 50s to.
Right. Back then. And everything's just so different and everything's just.
Yeah, she's a woman and she's like genuinely intelligent. So they all think she's a witch and they're like trying to kill her all the time.
Yep. And she's in
exhausting.
Scotland, but they're fighting with the British Army right now because
And
they're trying to
she's
take
British,
Scotland
yeah.
over. And yeah, she's British. And
I
so
have
it's
no idea what it's called. But
dude.
I walked in on Allie watching.
My girlfriend's
and
going
I was
to be
like,
pissed.
This is very weird.
Yeah.
Well, they haven't made a joke or like punched each other in the dick or anything. Like, why are you watching this?
This is an entertainment.
Yeah.
Yep. It's a good show, though.
Yeah. What about you, Dylan?
Yeah.
What time?
I've always liked the 20s, the 1920s. I think that would be cool.
But the 20s is only cool if you have money. Being a poor person in the 20s seems like it sucks.
At least in movies, everybody had money because they just invented the stock market. It was before the stock market crash. Yeah, I want to get back before the 30s for sure. I don't want to spend the 30s there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everybody,
quick 10 years.
Like yeah, in New York at least. I don't know about anywhere
New York
else,
in the 20s, that would be a great spot.
I mean, that's only from watching The Great Gatsby. But
Yeah,
it looked like they had
Great
money.
Gatsby.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
that's
go
a
out
great
to the
movie.
Hamptons and
Own.
I don't
20s is about to happen again, man.
I know. I can't
Maybe it'll
wait.
be the same.
Can't wait for the next version of the 30s because I'm gonna pounce then.
Yeah,
I'm
exactly.
gonna be
Next big downturn.
no gets, no nothing. So everyone else is gonna crumble.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not sure if that works like that.
it's gonna be.
We do go in cycles, that's for
Yeah.
sure. When they're timed, it's getting thrown off more and more, but they'll happen.
I feel like 80s. If I could be roughly my age, my age in the 20s. Or not the 20s, the 80s.
80s.
I just feel like I would
That's a good call
crush
too.
it.
Yeah.
I feel like that is where like my soul, everything was neon.
Yep.
Nothing was safe. Nothing was regulated.
Nothing was
we would
off
just
limits.
Be running around doing
Lawn darts.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
We had some in the 90s.
You got to
but,
lose
like,
a couple kids to lawn
throw
darts.
up
Dude,
It's just
a literal lawn dart.
progress of society hinges upon that.
Deal spike. You're
Yeah,
throwing in the air
T-tops.
as high as you can.
you like the music?
Yeah. I would have like a T-top something.
Yep.
I would be shirtless and or in like a denim vest at all times.
Perfect. Have you seen Stranger Things?
Yeah.
You reminded me of Billy. You're basically going to be Billy.
I just feel like I don't know who Billy is, but I just feel like I would crush it in the 80s.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm sticking to it.
Yep. All right.
And it's the right amount of technology. Things like
It's
they
taking
had
off.
some antibiotics.
You won't die.
They like there was a reasonable amount of like health wise, like they knew some things about the human body. Also, no one was like as soft as they are now, so
Yes.
like everything in general was like a little bit more hardcore
Yeah.
and
But
like,
also nicer at the same
pure,
time. Yeah, just pure.
and like
Yeah.
like if you were a dick, you were a dick in the 80s.
Right.
Now I meet people and they're super cool, and then all of a sudden I find out later like you're actually a little bit of a dick.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
you're actually kind of a
Yeah, everybody's
kind of a-
fake.
Yeah, like oh okay. Versus like back in the day, like if you sucked, like it was just out in the air, like as bad or as good as it is. Like
How is that?
Like if you were racist in the 80s, like if your neighbor was racist, you just knew it.
You just accepted him as
right?
a racist
like,
guy.
Like you based your decisions based on the absolute fact that like you knew that guy was being who he was.
Right.
Versus now, like I meet people and it isn't until like months of knowing them that some of the like, oh wow, you're actually nothing like what you actually said you were.
Right. Yeah.
And I feel like that's just so common nowadays.
Yeah.
Or
absolutely.
like, because there's no accountability for stuff like that. Like, people like drives me nuts. Ghosting someone that you were supposed to hang out with, or like that you were texting, or like
purposely to like hurt them.
Just in general,
just
like
in general?
not even purposefully. Just
I
like,
bet it existed with the pager. They would page ghost you.
I guess,
Fuck
yeah.
that page.
But like no one really had. I don't know enough about pagers. If that was a thing,
I bet
never had one.
It's not. It's human nature. It's not just because of a cell
but
phone.
it's so like acceptable now culturally versus like.
I get what you're
don't
saying.
think it was like
People
it used
aren't-
to be. I would somehow get a hold of Trevor and be like, "Hey, 6:30, we are getting together for the podcast," and then whenever it was scheduled,
Then what
we
if
would all just show up
his car breaks down or his mom gets sick? Like
then you knew
then-
it was an actual problem.
Right.
No, but you
Versus
wouldn't
them
know
just
because he
being-
couldn't call you because he didn't have a cell phone.
But that's what I'm saying is like you knew the reason they ghosted you was an actual problem, versus them not having the social
The
courage to
integrity.
be like, I don't want to hang out with you.
I get what you're saying. Yeah,
Like-
people even I think just probably before the internet started, more or less, people were just much more real. Like you're actually yourself rather than trying to be something else, somebody else, at all times because that's what Kim Kardashian is doing. That's what they're doing. This is what that.
Yeah.
But in a sense, I feel like this is the best time to be alive. At the same time, I mean, we have
Technically, yes.
the most opportunity. We're the healthiest. We live the longest. I mean, imagine back in the day, 200 years ago, when you got an infection on your arm or something. They're like, "We're taking it off. Here's a shot of vodka.
We're taking it off, or you're dying.
Here's a shot
yeah.
of vodka. Here's a little leather. Let's go." And they just start bone sawing you.
Yeah.
As compared to now, it's like we're gonna put you under. You're not gonna feel anything. We're gonna cure everything. Bye.
Yeah, but at
80s,
and
sweet
totally
spot.
agree. I do totally agree, but also I think that every generation ever has said this is the best time to be alive.
I think that's
sure.
because it's true. I think
For sure.
with each new generation, it is the best time to be alive.
In multiple
In the
senses.
1800s, they had the vodka. What about in the 1600s? They didn't have the
Nothing.
vodka.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
you just
at
have to
least
get
we have vodka.
scream shouted
Yeah,
at
we
by
got
a
some-
shaman.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, I agree. I mean, every second that passes is gonna be the next best second. Be alive.
Right up until it's not.
Right up until you're done.
So interesting.
Pretty soon it's probably not. but
Until AI takes
whatever.
over.
What are you gonna do?
Man, what a fun conversation this has been. We've talked. I don't think there's a single subject we haven't breached. Is there anything that we could talk about just to like get it off our chest? Like we got to hit every topic. We've talked about weird robot overlords.
Well, nobody said dinosaurs. Nobody
Okay.
wanted to go back to the dinosaurs, which is interesting
That's
because
because
that
you
would be
die immediately.
yes, yeah, that is true.
That would be absolutely
You'd be
insane.
so arrogant to think that you would survive more than like.
You're
10
like, I'll
seconds.
survive. But anything, we've lost all of that ancestral, like instinctual
Yeah.
stuff, and we would all just
there's
die
probably
right away,
10
unless we could go there and then come back.
Yeah, there's probably like
Right? Yeah, you need to take something, a suit of armor,
Yeah, a little-
perhaps.
yes.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
come out in a night suit.
You're shiny, probably.
Yeah,
attractive.
stop in the 1400s, pick up a night suit.
There it is.
Yes.
a suit of-
On your way
suit of
down
armor,
back to-
and then go to the dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and then
Just
see how
wreck
it
them.
goes.
Start riding brontosauruses. And,
All right, now we've talked about everything.
I like that.
yeah,
Oh,
hell
that's
yeah.
perfect. this is so. I'm full peak happiness right now. Like this is the
Dude.
best.
Hell yeah.
I'm so pumped.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for having me on.
Yeah.
It's been great.
Yeah, absolutely. We have one ending question. When you think of the word joy, what comes to mind?
Immediately, probably being with family, just all together. My dream is to have a whole family compound. And everybody, like, Christine's family lives over here, so ideally there's a lake involved. And nobody else can take this idea, by the way. There's a lake involved. I'm chilling here, fat house on the lake. Christine's family's over here. my dad's over here, brothers are here. Back in the day, you would live with your grandparents until they died. You'd all be in the same area, and I feel like that's one of the big things that we're missing these days is that family involvement again. And really just, I think that's one of the most important things to me. So when I think joy, I probably think of, Thanksgiving dinner or something, being with family, but I want to have Thanksgiving dinner every night. Eventually, I'm gonna build the fattest dining hall, like a Nordic dining hall.
Yeah,
freaking fat fireplace,
rough sawn timber.
Dude, yeah. My brothers and I have talked about building it out of the log on our land. Yeah. So we just go and just carry them on the shoulders, bring them in.
Of course. Yeah.
Then every time you look at it,
no, you gotta throw them. You're not even have to carry them. You just throw them.
Yeah, just throw them into place. And
that's the thing they do. The Scottish do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
So that's what I think, man.
Couldn't be better. Yeah.
Quick side note, not alone on the compound idea. We've talked about it many times.
Really?
Okay. So on Jamar's podcast, we even talked about it.
Nah, dang.
Since I was like 14.
Yeah.
A little different.
Yeah, okay.
A little different.
What's yours?
Mine would be chosen family, not necessarily actual family.
Yeah, I feel that, yeah.
And ours involves probably not a lake, but a sweet pool.
Okay.
And a racetrack and a skate park.
I like the skate park idea. I was thinking fat, underground, not underground, but in-ground Olympic trampoline.
Yeah.
Into the lake,
Yeah.
Some sort of a blob.
Some sort of a blob, you can have a boat out there. Yeah.
Yeah, the lake's a solid addition.
Yeah.
Dude, when you're building your compound, let me know. When I'm building my compound, I'll let you know. We'll figure out.
Please do.
Yeah. Because that would be, dude, the Airbnb compound style.
Yes.
That's what's up. Just
you make fat cash.
Well, I'm not even picturing we just live in our weird skate park utopia that's just a bunch of action sports stuff, and then we trade off for half a year at the lake house.
Yes.
Do some ice skating on the actual lake and we ice race our cars on the lake. Well, that's the dream.
Fat hot tub.
Yeah.
That's where it's at, man. Lots of dogs.
Of course.
10 dogs.
At least.
Yeah.
Minimum.
Yeah.
This is the best. Yeah. I'm so happy I'm not alone.
Dude, you gotta have it, man.
That's the right deal.
Yeah,
awesome.
heck yeah.
Deal. Thanks for coming on, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.